Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 11 tonight. Let's get started. A living legend, Sir Paul McCartney in Spokane tonight to kick off his Got Back tour. Fans were lined up outside the arena today, many of them calling this a concert of a lifetime. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk talked to them ahead of the show.
A black SUV carrying one of the most famous musicians alive pulled into the Spokane Arena late this afternoon.
Hey, Paul, I know you.
Peace, brother.
Sir Paul McCartney beginning his Got Back tour in the Lilac City.
He puts on the best concert I've ever seen in my entire life, and I'm almost 70 years old.
McCartney took the stage around 8 tonight, but fans of all ages were lined up hours before.
I'm 85 years old or something like that. Anyway, I'm old, so I know the Beatles from forever. So this was Paul is my favorite.
Number one concert by far that I wanted to go to. So I drove around 6 hours and I'm going to be sleeping in my car tonight before I head back.
Yellow Submarine, I'm all ready for it. We are so excited to see this.
I bought that button in the summer of 1964. Actually bought it in Lewiston, Idaho at the Bon Marché.
My dad is also a big Beatles fan, so he drew me a tattoo because I'm also a Beatles fan.
Here comes the sun.
Says "Here comes the sun."
The Spokane Arena says some fans flew all the way from Japan and Sweden just to see the living legend. Following tonight's performance, McCartney will head to Seattle. His Got Back tour wraps up June 16th in New Jersey.
Love you! Oh, dear God.
In Spokane, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
Now to Night Beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. Bloomsday almost here, and this year's race will be in person for the first time in 2 years. But there are some important things you need to note before you go to the race. Before Sunday, you must head to the Spokane Convention Center to pick up your race number. Bloomsday officials urge you to know that number. If you don't have it, you can find it by visiting the Bloomsday website. And coming up in just about 5 minutes, we'll share more on what to expect and what else you'll need to do before Bloomsday on Sunday.
And it's very important to us to be a good neighbor. And so we want to reach out to all of the folks who are around the potential site. We want to listen to their concerns and mitigate those concerns. And once we have done that, then we'll be ready to move forward with those next steps of announcing a location.
Yesterday, Spokane Mayor Nadine Woodward gave her State of the City address where it was announced that Catholic Charities would move their downtown homeless shelter. The new facility is expected to be 24/7 with the capacity to house up to 300 men and women. Right now, Catholic Charities officials say the downtown location can only house up to 135 people a night, but at one point had 300 to 400 people at a time with them, with people sleeping on the floors. Right now, Catholic Charities already has 3 spots they say that are zoned correctly. They are considering for the location, although they have not revealed those locations. As for the current House of Charity, that building will no longer house people overnight once the new facility is built. It'll instead be used as office space. Washington Governor Jay Inslee was in Spokane today visiting both Eastern Washington University and Spokane Falls Community College. Inslee met with Eastern students, faculty, and administrators to learn more about the campus's sustainability efforts and tour the Palouse Prairie Restoration Project. The project aims to restore 120 acres of campus land where almost none of the native Palouse Prairie habitat land at Eastern remains. His next stop was at the Spokane Falls Community College Planetarium, and there he met with the Environmental Club and toured the new Sustainability Center and Planetarium. A district judge rejected an attempt by 2 North Idaho College trustees to block the appointment of 3 new board members. Judge Cynthia Meyer denied a request to grant a temporary restraining order against the Idaho State Board of Education while it works to fill 3 vacancies on the NIC Board of Trustees. The lawsuit claimed the state board exceeded its authority by appointing more than 1 trustee. Post Falls attorney James Bendel claims that allowing the state board to appoint more than 1 trustee is, quote, anti-democratic and violates Idaho code. Judge Meyer rejected that argument and said the board is doing exactly what it was supposed to do. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just text us the word night to 509-448-2000 and we'll send them directly to your phone. All right, let's talk weather today. We have a huge weekend coming up here in the Northwest with Bloomsday on Sunday. A lot of folks counting on the weather to at least be decent. Let's get outside to Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo. And Jeremy, the forecast is a bit tricky, but there is hope for Sunday, you're saying.
Oh, absolutely. And Mark, we've also got some needed rain in the forecast, but check this out. It looks like Paul McCartney's concert just let out. All the people flooding through Riverfront Park making their way back to their cars. Hope it's a good show. If you were lucky enough to go and you're watching, hey, let us know. 45 degrees right now with cloudy skies. Temps staying pretty uniform in the past hour, and that is because of some of that cloud cover. Still up near 50 in Moses Lake and Wenatchee, but dropping. You have a little less cloud cover there, but clouds building in. Coeur d'Alene now up in the mid-40s. Sandpoint stays at 39 degrees. We do have some of that moisture still in the atmosphere. A little bit of radar feedback now. Most of that down near Moscow, just off to the north, but kind of sliding to the south just a little bit as the atmosphere kind of just relaxes. Overnight, we're going to see that kind of move out, squeeze out a little bit of remaining moisture. We'll see some sunshine tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, our next system starts working in, but in the interim, it's beautiful weather. We're up near 40 to start the day, up near 40 because the past few days, well, we've been down near freezing, so that's a stark difference. By the afternoon, temps climb to the mid and upper 50s in eastern Washington and North Idaho, 60s in central Washington, and yes, Bloomsday looks nice, but we've got an incoming storm that's going to play a big role in what we see come Sunday morning. All of those details in just a bit.
Sounds good. Thank you very much, Jeremy. In your national news tonight, are you one of the millions of people who have student loans? Well, your debt could be forgiven. President Joe Biden is considering that possibility right now. In a meeting with some House Democrats, the president says he may be open to forgiving some student loans, and that prompted Senate Republicans to introduce legislation to stop the president from doing so by executive action. Democratic lawmakers say young people are struggling under more than $1.7 trillion in student debt. Moderna submitted a request to the FDA this morning for emergency use authorization for a vaccine for children under the age of 6. If approved, the vaccine would be available to kids between 6 months and 6 years old. The most recent phase of Moderna's Kid Cove trials revealed that 2 doses of its vaccine have a 51% efficacy rate for children 6 months to 2 years old and a 37% efficacy rate for children 2 to under 6 years old. Moderna's announcement comes as the FDA says making a vaccine available for kids younger than 5 is one of its highest priorities, only after careful and thorough analysis of relevant data, they said. It is day 3 of a rape trial involving a former Idaho state representative, and the jury deliberations are underway now. Former Idaho Representative Aaron Von Ellinger is accused of raping a 19-year-old state house intern during the 2021 legislative session. The victim, who's only identified as Jane Doe, briefly took the stand yesterday, and during her testimony, she was asked about the alleged assault by the prosecution. And at one point she said, quote, "I can't do this," and ran out of the courtroom. She did not return, so the judge ordered the jury to strike her testimony. Von Ellinger took the stand today and reiterated his stance that the encounter between himself and Jane Doe was consensual. The jury was sent away for deliberations at around noon today. We are continuing to follow this trial, but for any updates in the meantime, just visit our website, krem.com. Also in Idaho, due to staffing shortages at the Kootenai Humane Society, public viewings of the animals have been canceled. The animal viewing usually scheduled for Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. For any updates in the meantime, you can visit their website, but you still will be able to make adoption appointments through their website, so heads up there. And in other Northwest news, the Seattle City Council passed another ordinance this week that changes the rules for landlords collecting late rent from tenants. Under the new ordinance, landlords are required to cap repayment installations to 1/3 of the tenant's rent. They also must offer a reasonable schedule for the tenant to pay the back rent and expand the rent covered to 6 months after the city's civil emergency comes to an end. Under the previous ordinance passed back in May of 2020, renters only had up to 6 months to repay late rent, and it only covered the period during Washington State's public health emergency. Boeing reported major losses in the first quarter earnings. The company cited higher costs and delays, including impacts from the war in Ukraine. Boeing posted a net loss of $1.2 billion in the first 3 months of the year. Part of that loss is $660 million in delays and higher costs for the Air Force One program. In 2018, the company reached an agreement with then-President Donald Trump to modify 2 new 747 jumbo jets to replace the current planes. All right, don't go to bed just yet. With Bloomsday coming up this weekend, we are sharing everything you need to know before the big race. We are back in just 90 seconds.